Vraja Janardana. Yasodanandana Vraja Janardana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Gopi Janava Lava Girivardhari. Jaya Gopi Janava Lava Girivardhari. Yasodanandana Vraja Janardana. Yasodanandana Vraja Janardana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jai Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Shri Radhe. Jai Radha Madana Mohan Radha Madana Mohan Shri Radhe. Jaya Radha Govinda Radha Govinda Shri Radhe. Jai Radha Shama Sundar Radha Shama Sundar Shri Radhe. Jai Radha Gopinata Radha Gopinata Shri Radhe. Jaya Radha Gopinata Radha Gopinata Shri Radhe. Jaya Krishna Balaram Krishna Balaram Krishna Balaram Jaya Krishna Balaram. Jaya Gauranitai 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 Jaya Gauranitai. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Nitai Go Haribo, 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 Go Haribo. Nitai Go Sitanath Pramana. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Shrimati Gopal Krishna Goswami Tramani Prabhupada Sahityam Prakasha Vitiracha Pacharan Krivanshalo Bhagat Pate Maha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesa Sunyabhadi Paschatya Deshatarine Om Jnanantimirandasya Gyanangyana Salakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurabhe Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamaya Dati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Juta Parakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Serupang Sagrajatan Sahagana Raghunatan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sadvadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Sri Visakam Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesa Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vindavaneswari Visabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivashadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Reading from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adilila, Chapter 4. The confidential reasons for the Lord's appearance. Text 61 and 62. There is no purport in text 61. Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya Jai Nityananda Jai Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Binda Sachid Ananda Purna Krishnera Swarupa Eka Ichit Chakti Tanra Dhariti Narupa Sachid Ananda Purna Krishnera Swarupa Eka Ichit Chakti Tanra Dhariti Narupa Sachid Ananda Purna Krishnera Swarupa Eka Ichit Chakti Tanra Dhariti Narupa Sachid Ananda Purna Krishnera Swarupa Eka Ichit Chakti Tanra Dhariti Narupa Sachidananda Purna Krishnera Swarupa Eka Ichit Chakti Tanra Dhariti Narupa. Word for word meaning? Satchit Ananda. Eternity. Everybody please repeat. Eternity, knowledge and bliss. Purna, full. Krishnera, of Lord Krishna. Swarupa, own form. Eka I, one. Chit Sakti, spiritual energy. Tanra, of him. Dare, manifest. Tina, three. Rupa, forms. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Lord Krishna's body is eternal, Sat, full of knowledge, Chit, and full of bliss, Ananda. His one spiritual energy manifests three forms. Next text. Anandam se ladhine sadam se sandine Chid ang se sambit yari jnana karimani. Somebody else? Anandam se halidini sadam se sandini Chidam se sambit yari jnana karimani. Mataji? Anandam se hladine sadam se sandini Se sambit yari jnana karimani. Word for word meaning again. Ananda ang se, in the bliss portion. Hladini, the pleasure energy. Sat, amse, in the eternal portion. Sandini, the existence expanding energy. Chit angse, in the cognizant portion. Samvit, the full energy of knowledge. Yare, which. Jnana kari, as knowledge. Mani, I accept. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hladini is his aspect of bliss, Sandini of eternal existence, and Shambit of cognizance, which is also accepted as knowledge. Purport. In his thesis, Bhagavat Sandarbha 103, Srila Jiva Goswami explains the potencies of the Lord as follows. The transcendental potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, by which he maintains his existence, is called Sandini. The transcendental potency by which he knows himself and causes others to know him is called Shambit. The transcendental potency by which he possesses transcendental bliss and causes his devotees to have bliss is called Hladini. The total exhibition of these potencies is called Vishuddha Sattva, and this platform of spiritual variegatedness is displayed even in the material world when the Lord appears here. The pastimes and manifestations of the Lord in the material world are therefore not at all material. They belong to the pure transcendental state. The Bhagavad Gita confirms that anyone who understands the transcendental nature of the Lord's appearance, activities, and disappearance becomes eligible for freedom from material bondage upon quitting the present material tabernacle. He can enter the spiritual kingdom to associate with the Supreme Personality of Godhead and reciprocate the Hladini potency in transactions between him and the Lord. In the mundane mode of goodness, there are tinges of passion and ignorance. Therefore, mundane goodness being mixed is called Mishra Sattva. But the transcendental variegatedness of Vishuddha Sattva is completely free from all mundane qualities. Vishuddha Sattva is therefore the proper atmosphere in which to experience the personality of Godhead and his transcendental pastimes. Spiritual variegatedness is eternally independent of all material conditions and is non-different from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, being both absolute. The Lord and his devotees simultaneously perceive the Hladini potency directly by the power of the Shambit potency. The material modes of nature control the conditioned souls, but the Supreme Personality of Godhead is never influenced by these modes, as all Vedic literatures directly and indirectly corroborate. Lord Krishna himself says in the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam 11:25-12, Sattvam rajas tama iti guna jivasya naiva me. The material modes of goodness, passion, and ignorance are connected with the conditioned souls, but never with me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Vishnu Purana confirms this as follows. Shatbadayo na santishe yatra na prakrita guna sasudha sarva sudhedya pumang adya pasidato. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu, is beyond the three qualities, goodness, passion, and ignorance. No material qualities exist in him. May that original person, Narayana, who is situated in a completely transcendental position, be pleased with us. In the 10th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, 10:27-4, Indra praises Krishna as follows. Vishuddha Sattvam Tavadhama Santam Tapo Mayang Dvashtha Rajas Tamashkam Maya Mayo Yang Guna Samprabhabho Navidyate Te Grahana Nubandha. My dear Lord, your abode is Vishuddha Sattva, always undisturbed by the material qualities, and the activities there are in transcendental loving service unto you. The goodness, austerity, and penance of the devotees enhance such activities, which are always free from contamination of passion and ignorance. Material qualities cannot touch you under any circumstances. When not manifested, the mode of material nature are said to be in goodness. When they are externally manifested and active in producing the varieties of material existence, they are said to be in passion. And when there is a lack of activity and variegatedness, they are said to be in ignorance. In other words, the pensive mood is goodness, activity is passion, and inactivity is ignorance. Above all these mundane qualitative manifestations is Vishuddha Sattva. When it is predominated by the Sandhini potency, it is perceivable as the existence of all that be. When predominated by the Samvit potency, it is perceived as knowledge in transcendence. And when predominated by the Hladini potency, it is perceived as the most confidential love of Godhead. Vishuddha Sattva, the simultaneous manifestations of this three-in-one, is the main feature of the kingdom of God. The absolute truth is therefore the substance of reality, eternally manifest in three energies. The manifestation of the internal energy of the Lord is the inconceivably variegated spiritual world. The manifestation of the marginal energy comprises the living entities, and the manifestation of the external energy is the material cosmos. Therefore, the absolute truth includes these four principles: the Supreme Personality of Godhead Himself, His internal energy, His marginal energy, and His external energy. The form of the Lord and the expansions of His form as Swayam Rup and Vaibhav Prakash are directly the enjoyers of the internal energy, which is the eternal exhibitor of the spiritual world, the most confidential of the manifestations of energy. The external manifestation, the material energy, provides the covering bodies of the conditioned living entities, from Brahma down to the insignificant ant. This covering energy is manifested under the three modes of material nature and appreciated in various ways by living entities in both the higher and lower forms of life. Each of the three divisions of the internal potency, the Sandhini, Shambhit, and Hladini energies, influences one of the external potencies by which the conditioned souls are conducted. Such influence manifests the three qualitative modes of material nature, proving definitely that the living entities, the marginal potency, are eternally servitors of the Lord and are therefore controlled by either the internal or external potency. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. You have any question? So, here, in these two verses, Kaviraj Goswami gave us the nature of the Supreme Absolute Truth. And that's why it says that in this spiritual world, everything is full of knowledge, bliss, and eternity. There are three main energies of the Supreme Lord, even though it says that there are unlimited energies of the Supreme Lord. Svabhiki, Balakriya cha, Jnanakriya cha. But categorically, there are three main: the internal potency, Swarup Shakti or Antaranga Shakti, the material energy, the Bahiranga Shakti, external energy, and there is the Tatastha Shakti, the living entities. The living entities, they're comprised also of two types. One is that of the eternally liberated souls, the Nitya Siddha, and there are also the eternally conditioned souls, Nitya Baddha. So those who are in the material world, either one is also a Nitya Siddha or a Nitya Baddha. But in the spiritual world, everyone is Nitya Siddha. And specifically the Supreme Lord, He does not change. He's always eternally full of knowledge, bliss, and eternity to the unlimited degree. That's why Prabhupada says the difference between Krishna and the conditioned souls is that Krishna never forgets, because His body is eternal, like a 16-year-old boy. Unlike the living entities in the material world, according to our desires, to enjoy the material energy, we get an appropriate species of life. It says that one can have 22,000 desires per day. There's a study done, but we should only have one desire, to serve the Supreme Lord. It must be really crazy to think of so many thousands of desires per day. And at the time of death, whatever he is thinking of, yam yam bhapi smaram bhavam tyajanti ante kalevaram. Whatever he's thinking of the time of death, that he will attain. So it is possible for a conditioned soul also to attain perfection when during his lifetime he practiced Krishna consciousness. That at the time of death he will be thinking of Krishna. In the spiritual world, everyone is always thinking of Krishna. Even their so-called Prajalpa is also talking about Krishna. Their village talk, unlike here in the material world, comprises the modes of material nature, namely goodness, passion, and ignorance. So that is the energy. Material energy means tamagun, rajagun, and sattvagun. And spiritual world, Sarup Shakti means this Shandini, Shambit, and Hladini. So the Goswamis, they all analyze these three subject matters in this spiritual world for our own benefit. Because no one can practice Krishna consciousness when only one becomes liberated, then his Krishna consciousness begins. So now we're just attempting to do bhakti. Well, maybe some of you are already in that platform. A pure bhakti. That you can be still in the material world, but you are not under the jurisdiction of the modes of material nature. There's like a pure devotee of the Supreme Lord, like Srila Prabhupada, or Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, or Bhaktivinoda Thakur. They're all Nitya Siddhas. Seemingly, an external point of view, they took birth. They, as like Prabhupada, he was engaged in pharmaceutical business and so on. Seems to be struggled also, coming alone to the West to fulfill the instructions coming from his spiritual master to spread Krishna consciousness to the English-speaking world, but they are not under the modes of material nature. Similarly, when the Supreme Lord comes from time to time, like Lord Krishna or Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they come once in the one day of Lord Brahma. One day of Lord Brahma is 1,000 Kali Yugas. So 999 Kali Yugas pass, and then that one day, we're very fortunate, 5,000 years ago the Supreme Lord appeared, and 500 years ago Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also appeared. This is a rare coincidence. It doesn't happen. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave us simple formula. Just by engaging in Sankirtan Yagya, chanting the holy name of the Lord, we can also taste a little drop of this Hladini Shakti, that pleasure potency of the Supreme Lord, even in a conditioned state. It's like when we're engaged in Kirtan. Oh, we can have that droplet of bliss that Srimati Radharani experiences all the time. She experienced the highest bliss, that Mahabhav. Only she can have that. But for the living entities, conditioned state like we are at the moment, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave us a glimpse of what it is like to be on that level, even a small portion. And that will encourage us to continue on the process so that ultimately we'll realize that pleasure potency of the Supreme Lord. Here in the material world, of course, there is no eternal life. There is no Sandini. There is no Sambit also. A little bit from the Shastra that we've heard and we read. Srila Prabhupada has given us the Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, and other books written by the Acharyas like Nectar of Devotion, Upadishamrita, Shri Ishopanishad. So we're given a glimpse also of how to realize in full knowledge the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is Sambit. Knowing who is Krishna, understanding who we are, and what is our relationship with Him. But Krishna never ever be covered up by the modes of material nature. When He comes, He is as He is. He may have different forms by Bhav Prakash, these different incarnations, but He is still transcendental, even, let's say, in the form of Baraha, boar incarnation, or Kurma, tortoise. Full of knowledge, bliss in eternity. That's why it says in the Bhagavad Gita, Janma karma chame devyam evam yoviti tatpata chakva deyam punar janma na itimam iti. So Arjuna. So human form of life is meant to realize that we have to get out of this material world to go back in the spiritual world where we eternally should be. And therefore, these shastras, the scriptures, Srila Prabhupada has written, cleanses our heart, purifies our existence. Every time we read these books, every time we hear the transcendental nature of the Supreme Lord, every time we congregate and chant the holy name of the Lord, helps us to purify, become rid of this covering of the spirit soul. And by performing bhakti, nava bhakti, these 9 processes, anyone can also come to the platform of Vishuddha Sattva. Yes, Vishuddha Sattva, pure goodness. So in the 3rd canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 29, Lord Kapila Dev also explains about executing bhakti under the modes of material nature, namely goodness, passion, and ignorance. One can perform bhakti in the mode of goodness, one can perform bhakti in the mode of passion, and one can perform bhakti in the mode of ignorance. Just like if one is always criticizing, that is the nature of a person who is performing bhakti under the modes of ignorance, he always finding faults in others. So beware of those kind of practicing devotee, sadhaka. Respect should be always there. Those who are performing bhakti in the mode of passion, they always wanted to be recognized. What to say of the one who is in the mode of ignorance? There's always a hidden motive to be recognized, to put themselves in the pedestal. But I'm amazed here, though, that because of their variegatedness of services here, I've seen and observed some of you, you're engaged in kirtan and you're also engaged in worshiping the Lord. And that's very highly commendable. It's not just, oh, I'm only pujari, I will not go and distribute books. Or I'm just a kirtaniya and I will not wash the pots. That helps us cleanse our heart. Pancharatrika vidhi and Bhagavat vidhi, both. So it is very, very special that everyone should take part in these different activities in the temple. And try to perform bhakti with humility and respect to everyone. In the mode of goodness, one performs bhakti but not expecting anything in return. But still, it is not pure because there is a tendency that one, just like Narad Muni, when he had darshan of the Lord withdrew his presence because Narad Muni was still attached to the mode of goodness. Just an example. Or Dhruva Maharaj, in the beginning, his desire is to have a kingdom like his father or his great-grandfather. It was like looking for broken pieces of glass. But then, when he found diamond, whatever material desires he's wishing to have, desiring to have, completely washed away. He had darshan of Lord Narayan, smelled the tulsi and chandan, like the Char Kumaras. They're just like examples given for us to learn that in the beginning we may have some motives, neophyte stage. We always have some motive behind, but ultimately, when one comes to the platform of Vishuddha Sattva, then our only desire is to offer everything to Krishna, give everything to Krishna, nothing in return. So here is very special book. Prabhupada, he gave us everything. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, the purports in the Chaitanya Charitamrita are also taken, Prabhupada has taken from the tikas or commentaries from Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur or Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and he would quote many scriptures to elucidate, to give us clear understanding of the subject matter. So this Visuddha Sattva is the combination of all these three nature of the spiritual world. Like in the material world, is Tamagun, Rajagun, and Sattvagun. The Sarup Shakti, the internal energy, is composed of full of knowledge, bliss, and eternity. Now in the spiritual world, we need to understand somehow by hearing from the sadhu, the guru, and the sastra, Krishna is God. But in the spiritual world, like in Vrindavan, they don't care whether Krishna is God or not. The gopis, they're not like very erudite scholars, like, personified Vedas. They're simple villagers, but all they want is to increase their love towards Krishna. They don't care whether Krishna is a demigod or a superhuman being or Narayan himself. Remember that story of the Rasa Leela? Krishna disappeared, and then Narayan. Then that is Krishna also. Narayan, four-arm form. Every living entities, the gopis were asking, have you seen Krishna? Have you seen Krishna? Even the trees, the animals. No, they cannot say, where is Krishna? But then Krishna, he disguised himself, four-arm form. So now, the gopis met Krishna in this form. And they asked, have you seen Krishna? In this way, in this area? He says, no. Well, if you don't know, then move on the side also. But that is Krishna. But then he cannot maintain his composure when Radharani came. When Radharani came, he turned into two-arm form. So, in this spiritual world, this is the three elements. The Sandini, Sambit, and Hladini. And Vishuddha Sattva means the combination of all these three. So, how to attain this? We are still in the conditioned state. Our mind still flickering, chanchala. So, Prabhupada has given us a very simple formula. Attend Mangalartik every day. And do it consciously. Consciously. Maybe in the beginning we don't put our heart into it. We just do it in a mechanical way. Chanting our rounds in the beginning, maybe just alphabets, as Bhaktivinoda Thakur says. But when we chant, we're like inviting this internal potency of the Supreme Lord. We are importing the Sarup Shakti into our heart. Even though Krishna is there as Paramatma, oh yes, this is a very important point. to come to that platform of Vishuddha-sattva, even the pujaris, if he's only doing the artik, maybe he knows, he realized that this is Krishna, but if he doesn't see in everyone that Paramatma is present, he will not come to the Vishuddha-sattva. When you distribute books, we pray to the Paramatma in the heart of the person whom we want to give the books. You remember we used to distribute books, Ramroy. We had a big group from the East Coast in the late 80s, early 90s. We go travel different places. We go to Philadelphia. We used to stay here also. Remember that? Boston, Connecticut, Toronto. We go to all these places. And our prayer is always in the Paramatma. Please have this person become inspired to take the book. So that puts you immediately actually in the Vishuddha-sattva. Immediately. Of course, we have to maintain that. We have to maintain at all times that kind of perception, the chitta, the consciousness. So it says that if a pujari only does the puja and he doesn't see in the others that Paramatma is present, then he's still under the devotional service in the mode of goodness, but not in the Vishuddha-sattva. So that is our goal. So when we chant the holy name of the Lord, it seems to be very simple, but it's very difficult at the same time. Uttering the holy name of the Lord, ultimately we will realize the name, fame, form, qualities, and pastimes of the Supreme Lord. None different than the Supreme Lord Himself. So somehow we have to grow up. We have to become mature. Don't always remain in the Kanista platform. Prabhupada says, at least come to the Madhyam platform. Because that's it. When you come to the Madhyam platform, then eventually one will come to the Uttama platform. If we remain Kanista, that means you only see yourself. I only see myself, I only see Krishna. And I don't see the devotees. And I have so many desires to fulfill. And sometimes devotees, they mistakenly, while performing bhakti, then their material desires also becomes fulfilled. So they will be kind of like, I'm convinced now. I will continue to do bhakti and therefore my material desires will also increase. I like that. Then you're missing the point. That's not proper. Ultimately, when we're performing bhakti properly, according to the teachings of Srila Prabhupada, our spiritual master, we should have that mood of Guru Seva, fulfilling the instructions coming from the spiritual master. Then our hearts becomes cleansed. These are all kind of like a package. They all go together. It's not that you can omit one from the other. Worshipping the deities and Guru Seva. Should be there. So ultimately, we will cleanse our heart and always remind ourselves of this third sloka of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Sikshashtakam. Always remain humble. Be humbler than a blade of grass, more tolerant than a tree. And should be always ready to offer respect to others and not expecting any respect for oneself. Then we will come to that platform of Vishuddha Sattva, even while in this body. This body now becomes spiritualized because you're on the platform of Vishuddha Sattva. If we engage body, mind, and words and our very self in performing bhakti, not expecting anything in return and only to please the spiritual master, the Supreme Lord, and the Vaishnavas, then we don't have to wait at the time of death to change the body into a spiritual body. This body is already engaged. If it's engaged fully, it's like Prabhupada gave an example. What example did Prabhupada give? The iron. The iron you put into the fire. So if we're in the fire of Sankirtan Yagya, always, then your potency is so much that whomever you meet will take up also to Krishna consciousness. Our spiritual master is always Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj. He says that the advancement of a devotee can be measured how many books he distributed, yes, and how many devotees he made. It's like I was with you the other day. Oh, these children who comes, they appreciate the kirtan. Definitely they'll become devotees one day. You know, their parents or their nannies will stop. And they were so attracted. This will be will be ingrained in their consciousness. Who are these people? They look all very happy. They all look very bright. These kids will never find any kind of personalities like this in this world. It's amazing how your performing of this yajna benefits many conditioned souls here in New York. I wish that every cities will have something like this also, a daily Sankirtan, book distribution, prasadam distribution. I went to Bhakti Center yesterday also. There is this one devotee, Adipurush. Yeah, he's a very blissful devotee. Looks very simple, but his heart is into Prabhupada's mission. Distributing prasadam to the homeless. They're also getting purified, and one day they'll take up to the process of chanting and this bhakti. So this is very mysterious how Vishuddha Sattva can be attained. So we should not lose hope. Many times devotees asking, Maharaj, what shall I do? Every time I chant, sometimes it's good, and then the next day, I'm struggling. There is no other solution except to continue on. There is no other process to attain pure bhakti. The dogs may bark, but the caravan goes on. We're always going to be bombarded by our mind, our senses. We have to regulate our lifestyle. Don't eat too much. Don't eat, maybe during festivals you can eat. You can eat a lot. But still, no. A very regulated yogi, he doesn't eat too much, eat too little, sleep too much, sleep too little, work too hard. Even in recreation, he's very regulated. So if we continue on like that, then hope against hope, we'll be able to understand this knowledge and ultimately attain love of God. We are also in Vrindavan. We are also in this chapter, Chaitanya Charitamrita. We read Chaitanya Charitamrita every Mondays in Vrindavan. We're in, last time I gave it's like 125. Yes. 125 to text 130 or something. So I'll stop here now. And if you have any question or comment, otherwise I'll give you some prasadam from from India as a consolation for those who are present. Yes.
Shamaraj, thank you so much for the wonderful class. I was reflecting on some points that you made, and one of them I was appreciating is just like the conscious aspect of Krishna consciousness. Like, it's so interesting how even like before we take up spiritual life, we have like an inquiry and we're all about like becoming more conscious of our activities. And then all of a sudden, you slap on a dhoti, you slap on tilak, and you start coming to the temple program every day, and then all of a sudden you forget to actually be conscious of what you're doing. And I think sometimes this is kind of neglected.
Yes.
Like sometimes we just think it's an automatic process, but that actually means we have to apply our consciousness. And I was really appreciating that point. And I was wondering if you could speak about the potency of something like performing Harinam Sankirtan with a deep level of consciousness and actually together as a unison begging for the holy name to be descending, and the importance of not just like mechanically going about that, so we can actually give better benefit to the public.
See, the effect of your being in that fire of Sankirtan Yagya reflects in your daily activities. It reflects also in your japa. Because some devotees, I know they only like kirtan, but they don't chant their rams. So they may sing very melodiously, attracting certain type of people. But again, it may take a long time for those who listen, who hears the holy name to take up to the process. Because they're still covered up. And the person who's chanting has not much potency. So it reflects, whatever you do the whole day, reflects when you do kirtan. And during japa, from time to time, we should also remind ourselves what is the meaning of the holy name, the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Sometimes we just want to finish our rounds as soon as possible because we made that agreement at the time of initiation to chant minimum 16 rounds every day. We should be mindful of everything that we do is meant as an offering of love towards the Supreme Lord and our spiritual master. So when you're doing Sankirtan, performing this street kirtan, Srila Prabhupada says, if you do it purely, this is none different than Rasa Lila pastime. That means Krishna is present there. And it should be felt by those who are there, who are witnessing and hearing your kirtan. That love actually is overflowing. The source of love is Bhakti herself, through the devotee who has so much love for Krishna. So when you have so much love for Krishna, your love is overflowing like Prabhupada. His kirtan is very simple in Tompkins Square Park? Yes? But the one who heard and who witnessed that first kirtan, they're very fortunate. They cannot forget. So similarly, when you do kirtan, it's like the effect should be so potent that they will always remember that chanting of the holy name. It will not go away for the rest of their life. They may not take the process of bhakti in this lifetime, but that will carry on next birth, because of the covering. So many upadhis, bodily designation, is so much covered up by the modes, especially of tamagun and rajagun. So yes, we should beg the holy name to please give me this opportunity to help the conditioned souls by chanting your holy name purely. We should be begging. And the Nam Prabhu. Yes. That should be the mood. The mood is always of humility and respect. And then you can always chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Not expecting like, hey, I want to be the most famous Kirtaniya. No way. Who is that? Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj also is very simple. You just keep chanting, but it's very powerful. Or Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he would choose a disciple who may not be, singing very melodiously. Sometimes even it is seemingly like out of tune. So one of his disciples asked, Guru Maharaj, why you always ask him to chant? There are many other kirtaniyas here. Sounds better than him because he's very sincere. So sincerity is also a quality that we have to have. What sincerity means? Sincerity means being focused. Even a person who will sweep the floor, you can say, oh, this devotee is very sincere. What? He's only sweeping the floor? How is he sincere? Because his focus, every nook and corner is being dusted. So when we chant, it's very easy to be diverted, the attention. It's very difficult to be like really focused. There's so much Maya out there. But because you became used to New York, I think you became immune already. You became immune of Maya now. People, that's what they call Zoo York. Zoo York, not new. This is like old, and this is like, you go to the zoo, different kinds of living entities, species. And it's easily to be diverted, distracted. You just go like, oh, no. So when you do the kirtan, you should be like really focused. Everyone is in the same wavelength. Then it'll be very, very powerful. We're not there to show off. We're not there as like entertainers. No. We're there to distribute the holy name in the purest form. That's our goal. Then Prabhupada's mission will be fulfilled. You're very fortunate. Ram Roy Prabhu as your leader, you're very fortunate. I wish I can join you. When I went to India after Toronto, my main goal is to join Ayendra Prabhu, the 24-hour kirtan. I had an open invitation from Ayendra Prabhu. You join, you come. But I was not able to do it. So at least every day I try to chant also with the 24-hour kirtan department. So yes, that should be our mood. And I'm sure Ram Roy Prabhu can tell us more about it. How to engage ourselves more and more in pure chanting of the holy name of the Lord. It's not so easy to go day in and out, day in and out. If you have material desires, you will not last in that program. You may last for some time, but then with great difficulty, you must be doing it joyfully perform. It's not a drag. Oh no, I'm going to go out again, 3 to 7. Oh no. Okay, I will go. Maybe in the beginning you have to drag yourself, just like a boy who's first time going to the school. But you should be joyfully perform. When they see that you are doing it wholeheartedly, sincerely, they will take up the process. And I've seen some people during that short period I was with you, they're buying books. They're buying books. Yeah, they're giving donation. So they're creating punya, pious credit into their spiritual bank account. And hopefully someday in this lifetime, they'll take up the same process. That accumulates after many, many lifetimes. Then they'll take up to Krishna consciousness. Okay? Thank you very much. Muchos gracias. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Dai Gaur Sitanath Premanande.